Perrysburg City Council meeting for October 6, 2020. Roll call, please, Dave.
All right, Ms. Bourne.
Here.
Mr. Coolman.
Here.
Ms. Materney.
Here.
Mr. Matuzak.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Here.
Thank you.
Please stand if you're able and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The minutes of council meeting for September 15, 2020, and the committee of the whole. Thank you, Your Honor. I will say, Mr. Krebs, I appreciate you not being up here. I have plenty of space here now.
Excellent.
To move out here. What I wanted to, I do have the meeting minutes here for the September 15th council meeting and committee of the whole. There is a couple of changes that was emailed to me, requested, and I would like to bring that to the attention of City Council this morning from Mr. Whitman regarding the Recreation Committee report. On that, and I'll just read them over before we do anything here. So I want to bring that to the council's attention here. In the report here, it stated that, and he highlighted, I'm not sure where it would be on here, but Chairman Bourne did ask if there's any rush to complete the project. Mr. Whitman said that there was not. Mr. Whitman had indicated that he did object to the proposed delay, but did so with a double negative. So he said, quote, there's not a rush. And he just wants to make sure that that was clarified in the report, as well as in 21 minutes into the Recreation Committee reporting, stated that Mr. Whitman stated that his opinion at any time a large donor offers a substantial amount of money from a project in a park that the city should change its law so it can take it. What he had said, he was quoted as saying during that is, if you have a family-run organization who comes up to you for the next park and says we're going to raise $750,000 and the city won't have to spend $1 for a new inclusive playground, so kids who currently can't play on dilapidated playgrounds will have the chance to play, I say you should absolutely jump at that chance. So those are the only two suggestions he would like to have for the report. And I guess in Mr. Whitman's request, I'll make a motion to see if those would be acceptable. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, we have discussion. Well, we have discussion regarding those proposed changes. I do have a question real quick, is to make a procedural question here. Should we not make a motion to put this on the floor first? I'm going to look at a law director on this as we're having this discussion around rules of order.
That's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. Should we have a discussion to make a motion to move this and then make the motion, or is it okay to make this motion of changing the meeting minutes before we actually make the motion on the meeting minutes?
Okay, so here's my question. You're not trying to change the city council meeting minutes. You're trying to change meeting minutes from a subcommittee.
It's a committee report.
A committee report.
That would be
It's attached, but are not the actual minutes.
Correct.
I think you have to,
The main part here of it,
honestly, you have to talk about this first.
Yeah.
and not the body of the minutes, but they are.
I think you have to talk about this pending motion first.
What motion is on the table? I lost track.
The motion to make an amendment to the report before we get to the meeting minutes. Right.
Yes, you have to do that first.
Okay.
If you want to amend what you're going to consider, discuss that,
First, and then we go into the rest.
decide whether or not you're amending it, then talk about the minutes.
I just want to make sure we have the procedure correct. Thank you. For the right to the test. Thank you for the report, yes.
So we're discussing changes to the rec committee minutes, which would be incorporated into the minutes report.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to those changes. I'll start with discussion. I'll go this way first. Does anybody have any discussion on those two amendments?
No, those the ones that you're making now.
Oh,
Correct.
all right.
Okay.
We'll get started on the end. Ms. Bourne, Jim.
Oh, thank you. I would say that based on what I have always filmed in the meetings on the record, everything is all out there, and I really think that the record speaks for itself. That's what I'm gonna say. Thanks.
Any other comment? No?
I guess, okay. So I agree with her that there's a video of it, but I guess where I'm kind of coming from right now is we're being asked to amend a committee report to change what it says very specifically based on what Mr. Whitman said he said. And I have no reason to doubt Mr. Whitman, but I'm sitting there going, well, I don't remember exactly what he said. What did he, has anyone, if we're going to propose a change, has anyone verified that what he said is what he in fact said?
I can tell you,
I sit there and say, yeah, sure, I guess. No, is it?
Mr. Jimmy, what I can tell you is being part of the committee meeting, when he had talked about the quote there with the 21-minute mark, I do recall that.
I mean, I watched the video, but I don't remember his exact words. So,
That's pretty much his exact words.
you're on the committee, you're on the committee.
Yes. Double negative.
Yeah, it was a double negative. Yeah, let me think. Yeah, the way Jonathan put it, could you repeat it?
There's not a rush.
That's correct, that's what he said. So there was a rush.
So I guess what it comes down to, if I understand right, that Ms. Warren characterized it in her own words in the committee report. We're just asking for the actual words in the committee report. Her video can't be any different than anyone else's video. And you guys have verified that what we're asking to amend it to in other words that he actually said, then it would be consistent with everybody's video.
Councilwoman Warren, do you disagree with his quotes?
What I feel is that we should just respect what the video says. The video, as I recall, he did not mention regarding families. That was at the actual council meeting. What I recall is he did mention if you had a commercial, I think the quote was, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it is on the video. If you have a commercial donor or a commercial person that comes to you in a park, you should take it. That's what I recall.
Here's the reason I'm doing all this, okay, because since I've been on council, which is not that long, or as long as anyone but Tim, we've never gone back and amended a committee report.
We have once.
Okay, so I don't remember doing that though. But committee reports don't capture everything. Because when I first got on council, I was like, that's like only part of what was done. When I was told it's a report, it's not a dictation of what happened. And so if we're gonna, maybe start a practice of going back and amending the committee report from the council level, that
Well,
I'm okay with that, but if we're gonna do it, I'm being asked to change to the way it was actually said, and she's saying she recalls something. I mean, we all have.
the administration does not have a dog in the fight, but I would say that most of the reports are done by the corporate counsel or Mary Jo or by Heather. And so
She does a fine job, but she also gives it to us saying.
but these ones were not that.
Okay, that's
These
fine.
ones were prepared. So council members have always referred to set their own minutes, and that's fine.
Councilman Smith, if what you are asking, and what I think I'm hearing you asking, is to have the ability to review the minutes before you vote on this, you can make a motion within this motion to punt this decision essentially to the next city council meeting, which would give you the opportunity to review. So if you want to make it really complicated, you can make a motion to table what would be table this until August 20th to give everyone the opportunity to review the video that is out there and to re-look at this amendment on August 20th, on October 20th.
That's it, here's what he said.
Well,
Hold on, one at a time. Let's just go one at a time. There's a pending motion. Jan is at the meeting, so we'll go to her.
My issue and I watched the video numerous times this weekend because I'm gonna make my own motion. And in preparation for that motion, I'm very familiar with it at this point. So what Ryan says is pretty much accurate. My problem with accepting this is quotes attributed to me that are not true. That's my issue, and it shouldn't be read into the record as true.
That's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
no, if we're gonna doing something that we don't very often do, and we're gonna say this is specifically what he said, we wouldn't be having these discussions with the person that wanted to make the change, but said, and everybody, I want you to watch for the next 20 seconds, here's what he said. Yep, okay, understood.
You make a good point, and there is another option that can be made with this, is just completely omit those lines.
Because just imagine if Mr. Warren comes back next Tuesday and says, I'm gonna show you the video, that's not exactly what he said.
Well, Mr. Cusick, what the other option would be is to omit the lines that he has the issue with altogether. That way, his report doesn't have to be changed.
I'm just saying, you guys are gonna say that, that's exactly what he said. I'm like, well, show me what he said, because I don't remember, that's why.
Mr. Coleman?
Well, my take on this is, and part of the reason I posed this at the last meeting for him to review the minutes is, one, that particular committee meeting had some attention drawn to it. We do have the opportunity as council members to review those committee reports to fix inaccuracies. And his name was brought up and quoted. Well, I don't know if it were direct quotes or summaries. So I thought it was only fair, given the attention that particular meeting garnered.
The attention's he gonna get if that's not exactly what he said, we just changed the committee report.
Well, my whole point is, I wanted to extend him the same courtesy we all get as committee members, at least, to review the committee reports. So, from having watched the video myself, I don't really have a dog in the fight because I wasn't at the committee, but those do not seem out of line. If we're going to add direct quotations.
If I can jump in for just 1 second, just to remind all the councilmen, all the elected folks, that the minutes are meant to be a documentation of the actions of council. And we try to put enough information in those minutes so that someone reading them 20 years from now can kind of get a sense of why council took the action that they did. But minutes are not and never were meant to be a documentation of this person said this and that person said that. That's not the purpose of minutes. Okay, so just kind of bear that in mind going forward, that,
And that's maybe what the suggestion would be, is just to remove those lines if they are concerned with inaccuracy. And 20 years from now, we don't want someone to believe that they were misrepresented. Because they weren't necessarily exactly quotes per se. It's more of a representation. And it may be appropriate to just remove those specific lines. And he highlighted the lines in question.
So are you withdrawing your motion, or what?
I'd like to see what council would like to do. If we withdraw, I don't think we have an issue, but we could easily, for the concern that he had mentioned about being mischaracterizing with stating that in this opinion, any time a large donor offers a substantial amount of money, I would say we just remove that line altogether. And then with the other one, just insert the double negative, because I think I know that one is accurate.
If you want to get this started tonight, I'd be more comfortable with that, because you're asking me to go on something that I can't share.
So I will withdraw.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I will withdraw my first motion, and then I'll make a motion to just add that Mr. Whitman said that there's not a rush on the project, if that's comfortable with the council. And then to completely remove the line, Mr. Whitman stated that in his opinion, anytime a large donor offers a substantial amount of money for a project in a park, the city should change its law so they can pay it.
Okay, any discussion on those?
Okay, second.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have
Wait, we need a second?
Second.
All right, so there are a motion to have two changes made. Any discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would say this. I tape these meetings for a reason, unedited, so the public has an opportunity to take a look and see what happened, and also that is a record of the meeting. Secondly, I don't want to go back to the book of 1984 where things go down the hole, or the memory hole, so to speak, because you don't want to remember what was said. That's why I have a video that is an accurate feel of what did happen. Thank you.
If no other discussion, a roll call on the proposed amendment to the rec committee minutes.
Okay, Ms. Warren.
Are we voting?
Yes.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Thank you.
You, based on what you said, you have
Yes.
another,
I would like to make a motion to amend the September 8th recreation report as written in the council minutes of September 15th. They are at best an accurate subjective report. If anyone has questions as to why I'm making this motion, I recommend that you watch a video of the meeting. Changes to the report I would like to make about comments attributed to me that are inaccurate as follows. Under section B, 10th paragraph, Councilmember Bourne wrote, Ms. Matroni stated that in her opinion, the fact that a secret donor was mentioned in the ordinance did not affect the ordinance. What I said was, the donor has no relevance to the ordinance. It shouldn't even be considered an issue. It is a separate issue and there is no secret donor. 12th paragraph is written in the report. Ms. Matroni stated that she considers Commander bricks,
parentheticals.
yeah, usually purchased by individual citizens,
Parentheticals.
thank
You're
you,
welcome.
to be commercial advertising. What I said was, as for advertising, what's the difference between putting signs on a fence versus putting advertising on the bricks you walk on? I mentioned nothing about commercial. 13th paragraph is written in the report. Ms. Matroni says she has no problem with this proposal. She considers the design of the park playground, quote, low-key and tastefully done, unquote. What I said was I have no problem with this proposal for Rotary Park. I think that is tastefully and nicely done. It's low-key and will blend in with the park. Paragraph 14th is written in the report. Ms. Matroni second, saying that she has read the memos from the law director and administrator and that the word secret was not used to describe the unnamed donor. What was said? I read the email and had a totally different spin on it than Ms. Bourne did and read it as a substantial donor and saw it as an amendment to an existing ordinance. 15th paragraph is written in the report. Ms. Matroni stated she felt that the inaccuracies in the current draft didn't matter, quote unquote. What I said was, I don't have a problem with it as is. I read it and understood it and stood it perfectly well and will vote for it to go to council. The splash pad, as written in the report, Ms. Matroni stated that she wanted the splash pad removed from the old business section of the agenda because it would always be too expensive to maintain. What was said? Ms. Matroni proposed to permanently take the splash pad off the rec committee. That is the cost to the city of the splash pad. The continuing cost is going to be not feasible, especially considering we have to watch a budget for the next couple of years, and we should not mention it for the next couple of years. That's all I have.
So are you making
I think for those ones, we might need to all review them. Again, I don't know, I don't disagree, but I think that I want to make sure everyone's comfortable with moving forward with that. I don't know what the rest of the council's feeling is.
I would be happy with just deleting those comments too. That would make me happy.
If everyone, you'd rather just have them deleted then at this point?
That would be fine with me.
so I guess we need to.
Versus, if it's gonna drag this out, making those changes, and we're gonna require everybody to watch a video.
Well, it's your, do you want to table it and have come back, or do you want to make a motion to strike all that? That's up to you. The inaction needs to be done, that's up to you.
I don't think anybody would be opposed. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I know I wouldn't be opposed if we wanted to delay one meeting just to make sure that you're comfortable with everything instead of having to make this.
That's fine with me, because my concern is, these records, and I agree with Dave, but they also should be as close to what happened as possible, and not a subjective record, but an objective record, which is what this was. And how can you vote for something known as fraudulent? Or perjurous at best.
So, Jan, if you don't mind, did you review, did you write down word for word what you were saying?
Yes, I watched the tape and I put it on pause and wrote down what I said versus what
All right,
I.
well, we don't have let's back up a little bit. We don't have anything, you've read your kind of statement, now
Yeah.
before we have further discussion, we either
Oh,
need a
yeah,
motion
okay,
or
sure.
not. If you were comfortable tabling it, we need a motion to table, or if we're gonna or have a motion to strike those things, we need that. But I guess I don't wanna have a lot of discussion.
Well, I'm talking on the current motion.
There is no current motion, and that we wanted to
Didn't you make a motion to start this discussion?
Councilman Coolman, yes, you're
Yes.
correct. She did start before.
She
That's what I
started this
would like to
motion
make a
with
motion
amendment.
to
That's what I want to talk
All right, then.
to. So,
Hold on a second. Okay, so, okay.
she made a motion for amendments and then decided what the amendments were gonna be.
Yeah.
I would
This is a
say,
motion, so then we have a second or have
it was,
discussion.
it was seconded by Tim, and then we had discussion, that's where we're at.
No.
Seconded by Tim?
So, my take on this is, I have not, if she's reviewed the video and she is suggesting those corrections from what she says is verbatim from the video, I'm not gonna oppose that, I would vote for it unless there's potential. Like, does anybody disagree that that's what she said at this point?
I guess I'd be a little more comfortable because I don't think Janet's gonna put herself in the hot seat and then not say the right thing. We're talking about Mr. Whitman, who's not here, who's what he said. So I'm a little more comfortable with the council member making changes that relate specifically to what they themselves said.
I'm certainly not gonna oppose that she said those things. So unless someone is, I don't see a reason why we need to table it.
That's fine. All right, so,
We don't need to table the benefits, correct?
That's another question. I don't know if this is the appropriate time for it, but since this all could be cleared up really clear with the actual videos being played, which I don't have right now, would it be unreasonable to put in our, to almost be required as footnote disclosure in our committee reports that a complete and accurate video of the proceedings can be maybe.
there's a public record.
So
issue with
people
that.
know there's a video of this? and won't have-
We're moving forward with having public, or having videos presented, but there are,
We're working on it.
but, well, that's what we're trying about all that, but there are some issues with preparing public records and those kind of things, if you make the video incorporated into attachments and things, so we're moving forward, we'll get some technology in place to get that set up so that people can, have an opportunity to see council minutes and see council meetings and, committee meetings, but there are some, so they would be available without that kind of concern. There are some public records issues with something along those lines, but we are moving forward and want to move forward as quickly as possible. Once we get some new technology, to be able to put it up on.
Then we don't have to worry about getting everything reported.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about that, I do want to take the opportunity. I try to visit community pages online, see if there's any issues, kind of follow the community that way. I would say there's been a strong public support for the fact that Ms. Bourne takes the time to record these videos and audio and puts them online. It seems like the citizens appreciate the fact that they can see that, and it provides a transparency value that I think, thank you for doing that, and hopefully the city administration can get that. I know we've talked about it.
We're working on it, we want to do that as quickly
Councilman
as.
Smith, to answer your question, we already record what's happening here.
Meeting the Tuesday, right?
Right.
Sorry, Councilman Matuzak, I'm
I
sorry.
know we did. But we can avoid.
Take it as a compliment. We already record what's going on here, and if a citizen wants to make a public records request, they can get the video of every one of these meetings going back till at least 2015, possibly. I'm not sure that you were recording before then, but you were recording as of 2015. So that does exist. If what you're asking is we put the public records request information,
I'm just saying,
Well,
so no one will in the future argue that that report doesn't tell us everything that was there. We can say, we know it doesn't. In fact, we put a disclosure on there that says this does not, but here's how you can get the full.
Bridget, why don't you just address where we are?
I certainly can.
Just work on it. We've been working on this for a while.
You may recall in last week's update to council, I noted in there that as we were going through our website transition to our new website, our updated website, one of the features of that, under the agenda and minutes tab of city council, you'll be able to see the agenda, the minutes, and the recording with audio. So that's going to happen during our transition, which our goal is set for October 16th to do that transition from a Friday over the weekend, and then starting that following week, these recordings of these meetings will then be uploaded nightly or the following morning to our YouTube channel, where you'll be able to go and click a link and watch it.
So it'd be audio and video?
Yes.
Okay.
That just puts the rest on future issues like this.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
No.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
All right, so then I will now make a motion to pass the September 15th, 2020 Committee of the Whole meeting, as well as the Perrysburg City Council meeting minutes as written, and to dispense with the written, motioned, and amended, and dispense with the reading.
I second.
Discussion, roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne?
Yes.
Mr. Coolman?
Yes.
Ms. Materney?
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
All right, well, that took longer than normal time. Special reports, we have no special reports. Letters, communication, citizen concerns, anybody, public, want to come speak? Seeing no takers, administrative reports. The administration has a lot going on, and we kind of reported out already regarding the switching over to the new website later this month. Would also like to thank everybody present today regarding wearing the mask, and we appreciate that. We also have opened the city building back up for access for scheduled appointments, and you come in, we have somebody who takes your temperature and signs you in. So we have implemented some steps to make it City Hall more accessible during this situation. And I would like to recommend to council, for the president of council, to make a motion regarding the recommendations for the appointments to the various reappointments to the various boards as listed. Diana Haas for the Board of Income Tax, Scott Kirby for Street Tree, Jeff Oster for Historic Landmarks, Tricia Spitzer for Historic Landmarks, Greg Pickle for the Planning Commission, Nathan Durek for the Board of Zoning Appeals, Brian Elmer for the Board of Zoning Appeals, Father Burnett for litter prevention, Scott Steele for litter prevention, Mary Kaczynski for litter prevention. End of my report. City Administrator,
No report.
Finance Director,
No report.
thank you. Law Director,
No report.
right to work though, appreciate that. President of Council.
No report. If you don't mind, let's jump right into the Appointment Review Committee. And with that, we had our meeting today at 6:05 p.m. To discuss the names mentioned by Mayor Mackin. And at this point, I would like to make a motion to accept those reappointments.
Second.
Oh, it's good. 3-0 the Appointment Review Committee.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
All right, Ms. Bourne?
Yes.
Mr. Coolman?
Yes.
Ms. Materney?
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
All right, committee reports. Thank you, President of Council, Finance and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mayor Mackin. I have no report. We haven't met since the last council meeting. Our next meeting date is a week from tonight at 5:30. We have no legislation tonight.
Thank you.
That'll be it for me.
Thank you. Service Committee.
We did meet September 23rd at 5:34. The meeting was called to order by Chairperson Jan Materney. Committee members present were Corey Coleman, Jan Materney, Jonathan Smith, also present. Rich Fitzpatrick, Administrator. Did I get your name wrong again? I think that's enough. Okay, sorry. I'll work on it. Citizens' concerns. Mr. Smith thanked the city for allowing the cemetery to use backhoe when theirs was down. Ms. Materney relayed a complaint about citizen regarding a strip of grass at the corner of 6th and Mulberry. Property owner does not mow. Mr. Coleman brought up the citizen concern from a previous city council meeting regarding multi-use paths being considered for the service committee. Mrs. Cabot stated that phase 4 of the multi-use path is part of the TMACOG grant for 2009. It is her understanding that all phases of the project have gone through the service committee. She stated that the Indiana Avenue State Route 25 intersection project is part of a TMACOG transportation grant, and the discussion came up about whether the sidewalk should be replaced by multi-use path. Mr. Smith said that he feels if the sidewalk is going to be replaced with a multi-use path, it should go to service committee. Councilman Coleman agreed, adding that if we're doing a roadway project, it saves money doing a multi-service path at the same time. He cautioned that he does not want multi-use paths that lead nowhere. Mr. Smith stated that several years ago, the Recreation Committee requested a master plan on multi-use paths. Ms. Cabot stated that she can get the map that was created by GIS to the committee, which she has done. Thank you very much. Budget discussion. Ms. Cabot distributed packets to the committee and stated they tried to add more details to the budget process through the detailed worksheets. The committee reviewed the budgets that fall under the Department of Public Service. Ms. Cabot said that there are changes in personnel and increased amounts in the salary line items due to there being 27 pay raises this year, 26 next year. She said that health insurance is projected to be up next year, so the line item is showing an increase, no action was taken. There's no further business, and we adjourn at 6:40. Next meeting is Wednesday, October 28th, 2020, at 5:30 p.m. With that, I have a resolution that I'd like to introduce. And I would like to introduce resolution 52, 2020, and move that the rules be suspended to allow its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second, third readings.
Second.
Okay,
Roll call.
thank you. Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen. Resolution number 52, 2020, authorizing an agreement with Manick and Smith Engineers for professional engineering services related to the State Route 25 and Indiana Avenue intersection improvements at a cost not to exceed $132,942 and declaring an emergency.
I move that resolution 52-2020 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
We get it.
Oh, sorry.
I've always had a question.
But you raised your hand. I didn't do something polite. I didn't
I
touch
didn't want to interrupt, so. Some people get a bad rap for me.
What's that, Jim?
I'm looking at the, what do you call this, the legislative summary?
Yes.
Okay. And it says the project is partially funded by TMACOG. When you say the project is partially funded by TMACOG, are you saying that this $132,000 is a portion, the full balance of it is, what is the project? Is it the entire project from start to finish? And what's the portion? It's kind of vague.
Councilman Matuzak, and just because you have not been, I don't think, on the service committee when this was talked about several years ago. So the city applied for a TMACOG grant, specifically a CMAQ grant, Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Grant. And we were awarded that grant for this project. This project will enhance the intersection, specifically at State Route 25 and Indiana Avenue. It will add a dedicated right turn lane heading westbound to northbound State Route 25. It'll extend the existing southbound left turn lane on 25 so it can queue up more cars. It'll flatten out the corner. Oh, I'm getting there, yeah. Okay. It'll flatten out the corner of the southeast corner of that intersection to allow for trucks to turn. That grant will cover, I believe it's up to 50% of the construction costs. It will not cover the engineering costs. So those are 100% city borne, as well as testing and some other minor items are all 100% city. But essentially, I believe the original estimate for this project was about 1.4 million. And I want to say there was close to, I think, 600,000 that would be CMAQ funds.
Out of the one, the first one costs us 800,000 then?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to see that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. McCarthy, Yes. Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Safety Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did not meet, so I have no report. Our next meeting will be on October 27th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Recreation Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to report there was a CRAC meeting last night. I unfortunately could not get in. I tried since probably 6:45 or so of the meeting the entire time. My computer was frozen. However, I did have it recorded, so I was able to see what did happen during the meeting. And I think I would like to compliment all of the CRAC members who did a really good job with all of the parks. And state that they did a very nice job, as well as Ms. Cabot, as well as Ms. Sandra. And I did send a copy of a quick snippet for her to say, and I believe she did get that out there about Connor Patrick being recognized. And that would be at a future council meeting, and I am waiting for the business person to complete the plaque that will be at no cost to the city for Connor and Patrick and his service to the city. So I want to make sure that was out there. I think that wasn't clear on the tape. I think Ms. Cabot had mentioned something about, you were thinking about possibly a proclamation or something, but we're looking at more of the plaque. So I will let you know when that's going to happen. But I'm waiting for the business person to do it since they're doing it free of charge and being patient. And I will let Mr. Patrick know that I think he needs to be recognized for his service. And also, we have not had a CRAC meeting since the last meeting. We will have our next meeting on the second Tuesday of this month at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning?
No report, Your Honor. We meet next Wednesday, October 15 at 5:30 p.m.
Personnel Committee?
Yeah, I have a report. There's a personnel committee meeting on September 22nd, called Order 506. Tim McCarthy and Corey Coleman were present. Jim Matuzak was absent. Bridget Cabot and Kelly Chapon were also present. Discussion regarding the proposed code of conduct for elected and appointed officials. Mr. McCarthy called attention to examples of codes of conduct that were forwarded by Council President Jonathan Smith. He stated that both the Belmont and Rifle, Colorado codes have provisions regarding conduct with each other at public meetings and conduct with the public at public meetings. Mr. Coleman said that he is looking for a process for violations, and the code from Rifle has that. He said the main goal is providing for proper decorum at meetings and following through if it is not upheld. Ms. Cabot said that Ms. Alkire asked OML for examples, and if they received any, they would forward them to the City Council. She said that the administration will also check with neighboring communities. No action was taken, and Mr. Coleman asked that the item remain on the agenda for the next month. Repeals for Section 266 of the Administrative Code. Ms. Cabot distributed proposed modifications, revisions, and recommendations to repeal for part of Sections 266. She stated that she and Ms. Chalfant spent time with Ms. Alkire and reviewed items that are in the section that are covered by collective bargaining agreements or the handbook, so they no longer need to be included in the code. She said that they were not looking for action at this meeting. She said the goal is to bring the packet for review at each meeting and then request action be taken at the following meeting. Other business, Ms. Cabot stated that she will scan and email the personnel budget for discussion at the next meeting. Mr. Coleman asked about the status of hiring the city engineer. Ms. Cabot said the first round of interviews were conducted with 5 candidates, and they are in the process of making a decision regarding the second round. Mr. Coleman said that he appreciates the administration as having City Council involved in the process. No further business. It was adjourned at 5:43. Next regular meeting is Tuesday, October 27th at 5 p.m. I have no legislation for you tonight.
Thank you. Public Utilities?
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a report here, so we did meet on September 23rd at 6:44 p.m. And present at the meeting was myself as well as Ms. Attorney. Mr. Van Huzen was absent. Also present were Ms. Cabot, City Administrator, and Ms. Gassi, Director of Public Utilities. The first item on our agenda was delinquent payment penalties and penalty processing, something we've had discussed here in the past. It was brought to our attention by Mr. and Mrs. Fott of 160 Quill Road that they had an issue with a late fee. There was some issues and concerns that were brought to our attention regarding prior process procedures, as well as postmarks not being actually applied to the mail in the envelope, still causing some more confusion. So this is going to be another topic of discussion that we'll be continuing here and hoping to find a better solution moving forward that encompasses possibly the old process as well as the new code amendment as well. So we'll be bringing that back up next month. Next on the agenda was engineering service for the construction phase of the wastewater treatment dewatering project. Ms. Gatz requested approval of an amendment to the agreement with Jones and Henry Engineering for design services for the dewatering project, the wastewater treatment plant. They are to go out to bid for the construction phase now, and bids will be open on October 8th. Ms. Gatti stated the contract amount of $66,480 includes $52,642 for the construction phase and $13,846 of design services for ancillary items that are being incorporated into this project. The committee agreed to recommend the approval. Next, we had sewer credit tabulation that were distributed to the committee of those approved by the administration. And then it was followed up by budget discussion to discuss the items in the budget that will be coming to council here shortly. With that, we adjourned at 8:05 p.m. And our next scheduled meeting is going to be on October 28th at 6:30 p.m. With that, I do have one resolution here to pass, so I would like to introduce Resolution 53, 2020, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and dispense with the second and third readings.
I second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman. Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak. Thank you.
I didn't hear you say his name either. Yes.
Mm,
You move around so much.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution number 53, 2020, authorizing an amendment to the agreement with Jones and Henry Engineering for professional design services for dewatering improvements at the wastewater treatment plant in an increased amount not to exceed $66,488 and declaring an emergency.
All right, I move that Resolution 53, 2020 be passed as an emergency measure.
I second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. There is no further business in the public facilities. Thank you very much. Any other business to come before the council?
Mr. Mayor, I have some business. I would like to congratulate our new law director and welcome her to our council meeting. So thank you, Ms. Snyder.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.